So, Stephanie of Avalon, this is the name I have christened you. I should have a
Ooh
sword.
la la, thank you.
Stephanie of Avalon. Of course,
you.
Globus family of brands, of which Avalon is a family member.
That's correct. One of our babies.
One of your babies. And you have single-handedly lowered the river cruising age by 5 years.
Actually,
How did you do that?
By 6 years.
By 6 years?
Yes. So when we introduced active discovery, one of our goals, it wasn't our goal to reduce the average age, but rather to give our guests more choices. And in doing that research and in looking at what new initiative we could put out in the marketplace that would satisfy the needs of our repeat guests, because there are more and more, of course, on the rivers, is what our goal was to find a new program that would help our guests discover, perhaps be a bit more active. So we introduced a few years ago active discovery. And we're now going into the third year, so active discovery on the Danube, on the Rhine, and next year on the Rhone. And when we look at the average age of our guest for active discovery, for Canada, it is 6 years younger on the active discovery itineraries than on a traditional river cruise.
If I go on an active discovery river cruise, my age will automatically be lowered by 6 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like it.
You like it. That's a really good way of looking at it. I must
It's a
think
great
about that.
promotional tool.
But yes, it is. But yeah, actually, age is a mindset.
Yes,
You
indeed.
know, I can only think of obviously myself and the age I am versus what my mindset.
Yes.
And I don't think I'm anything special. I'm not unique. I think a lot of people view themselves as very young and active. And active can have all kinds of different definitions. What I like as active might not be active for you or too active for you.
Yes.
And that's really important because I know some of the agents might have heard of active discovery and they're talking about, well, I don't think my customers want to run a marathon or,
Right.
take their bikes out and really go at 100 Ks an hour. And that's not what active discovery is all about. It's about choice and flexibility.
I'm interrupting you only because when I first heard about active discoveries, I was assuming that it's a program on board a normal Avalon River Cruise itinerary. You know how you have choices of activities and excursions, but it's not. It's a specific itinerary, which really makes, I think, a big difference in how you can structure the program.
Yes, I mean, on an active discovery, you can
Cruise.
do as
It's the whole cruise.
It's the whole cruise. So you will have a regular itinerary, for instance, on the Rhine, and you'll have an active discovery on the Rhine. And they're both going to give our guest a very different experience. So on the active discovery, we might go to different ports. We will stay longer in ports. We'll have more daytime sailing. We will have different levels of activity available for the guest. Yet, if for the person that's not familiar with active discovery, they might just look at an active discovery and a regular cruise and say, so what's the difference?
Right. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
And I love the daytime cruising because to sit, well, obviously in the proper weather,
Yes.
If it's warm, spring, fall, whatever,
Yes.
summer, you can sit on the deck,
Absolutely.
have a drink, and you feel like you're cruising on a yacht.
Yeah, you're meandering down the river and enjoying. And
I
Yes.
love daytime
Yes,
cruising.
and I think a lot of guests are asking for that as well. So as a general rule, active discovery cruises are, of course, more active, but even a regular cruise, it's quite busy. But again, it's all about choice and flexibility. In terms of what the guest really experience, it's a very different experience, and people are definitely much more active. And again, that does not mean running a marathon.
Right.
And the other tricky part about active discovery is people think it's all about the activity, but it's equally important about moving about the discovery side of it, not just the active. So
Right.
on the discovery side, there's so many different things that our guests can experience. So going to a painting class, I tried that one with the learning how to paint like Van Gogh. Or, there's many activities that really give a very different perspective of what a river cruise can be.
Indeed. I'm very interested, though, in the side effect, because I don't think the expectation was to lower the average age on active discoveries.
No, our first expectation was really to provide more choice and more flexibility.
So how did that occur? Why do you think that was a result? And how does a travel agent leverage the mindset that you were referring to? Because I think that's part of it,
Yes,
right?
yeah, for sure. Well, these active discovery cruises are 7 days, whereas traditionally we had longer cruises. So maybe it was a 9-night or a 10-night. These are really 7-night cruises. The other thing, as I think I mentioned, is making sure that people that want to go offshore and maybe go out in the evening, they can also do that. They can spend more time in these quaint little villages. And these little villages and the ports are different than the ones on the regular itinerary. So it's a combination of all of those components.
I have to tell you that instinctually, for me, which of course everybody should agree with me, but for me, that is a much, much more appealing way to do a river cruise. And I feel like all of them should be active discoveries, because it seems to me that you're offering all of the advantages: staying overnight, being able to go out in the little town,
Yeah.
Daytime cruising, activities, painting, whatever, cooking. Don't you think it should grow? And because a regular itinerary, to me, and maybe it's because of my age or my mindset, no, it doesn't seem anywhere near as appealing as that.
Yeah, I think what is really special about the active discovery, again, is because you do have more choice, more flexibility, and it does appeal to an audience that has that mindset right from the get-go. They are taking a river cruise because they want to experience this more sailing going down the river. But they are used to a certain lifestyle, and they'll enjoy everything that the river cruise has to offer. And in addition, now there's much more flexibility with flex dining. Traditionally you had to be at the dining room. Everyone was standing in line at 7 o'clock to get into the dining room, but now it's within a window, 7 to 8:30. So what is happening with the mindset of our cruisers is that there's every season, there's more flexibility built in.
So perhaps it's for a more comfortable traveler who knows what they like, has traveled, has a comfort level, doesn't need as much hand-holding. Whereas for the people
That's a good way of looking at it.
who are, maybe a little bit older and are used to everything being structured for them and like that.
Yes.
A lot of people want.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that helps
that's a
me
very
understand.
different perspective. Yes, absolutely. One would not think of a river cruise as being so structured, but you're right. There is a lot of structure in there. Guests still want to see as much as possible. You will get off in the morning at one port if you're coming back on board for lunch, and you're sailing a bit further, you're going to get off in the afternoon.
And
so
some
there
people
is
like
a lot.
that.
Yes, absolutely.
They feel comfortable knowing what they're doing and it having been set up in advance. Fascinating. Well, this is the Active Discoveries Avalon Waterways brochure with the beautiful Avalon A. And I have
It's
to
available online, so agents can go and get them online.
Having been on a few Avalon cruises, I have to say that I find the hardware really above my expectation.
Oh, it is?
Based on the price point.
Yes.
I really do. I find it's a great product.
Well, our guests do, since they're coming back more and more, I guess they would have to agree with you. I think it's it's a really fantastic way, again, of discovering Europe. Most of Europe was developed around the waterways, so that whole river cruise experience. And on our cruises, of course, our famous open air balcony, floor to ceiling, wall to wall window, that helps really develop
it's a wonderful
that
experience
whole,
to just look out when
Yes,
you're lying
yeah.
in bed. I mean, I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure. But like I say, if you always want to look at the next generation, no different than, our famous Wayne Gretzky that, would say he never looked at where the puck is, but more where the puck is going.
Love
We're
it.
looking at where the next generation of cruisers are going to want and where they want to go. And so it's really a cool thing to be able to introduce some new initiatives every different year. And like I say, we started with one river. We're now up to 3 rivers with a lot of choice and flexibility. And let's face it, a lot of cruisers and the next generation of river cruisers, they're very well traveled as well. And so they will simply expect choice and flexibility. As today's cruiser, they'll expect connectivity.
Spa
and
cruise.
we have Go Up, Spa Cruise. Yes, you're on for that?
I'm looking forward ahead of the
Nice.
puck. Spa cruise, sign me up.
Yes, good. Yeah, I mean, and that it's all about choice and flexibility and mindset. You want to do certain things, and you have conveniences like you have at home. I think of our bathrooms. The setting is very luxurious, and for many people, the bathroom, that whole setting on the ship is very similar to what they're used to at home. So we get used to certain comforts and
I cut you off about the app. I'm sorry, I got
No, that's
overly
okay.
excited. So you have an app.
Yes, we have a Go app for our Avalon guests. They want to be connected. And
Fabulous.
it's the response that's already out there in the market this year has been fantastic. Consumers really, really like it. And we are all used to being connected no matter where we go in the world.
That's right.
So absolutely.
All right. Well, that was really interesting. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I am now fully versed
There
in
you go.
active discovery.
Yeah, and there's lots more online on agentlingo.ca. The agents can go in, and there's a new training, by the way, an updated Avalon Waterways training module that's available.
Okay.
So, and in there's lots of information also on active discovery.